My name is Jody Carter, and this is You Are the World. Because you are the world. You are certainly your world, and you make a difference to everyone around you by being who you are, by being whoever and however you can bring yourself to contribute to the world. It does. It contributes to everyone around you, and they contribute to everyone around them, and so forth. So on the show, I like to have people that I think are making a contribution or that have contributed in some way to my life. And today, I have a special pleasure to introduce you to Calman, who is a writer, actor, director, a little bit of everything. Welcome to the show, Craig.
Thank you very much.
And now we've met each other really through the Actors Studio, and I've seen some of your work. Some of the things that you've written are just wonderful pieces. You have an incredible sense of humor, and you write the most delicious dialogue. And so I just wanted to find out just a little bit about how much you do in terms of writing, how much you do in terms of directing and acting, and what's your chosen what about each one.
Well, I like to consider myself an actor for writers, a writer for actors, and a director for both.
Oh, okay.
They're all interwoven for me.
Very good. So, and I know you frequently do some of, present some of your writing at the writer-directors unit at the Actors Studio.
Yes, at the Actors Studio.
How were you drawn to the Actors Studio in the first place?
Well, I had attended a play reading, and I saw Barbara Bain in the audience, the star of the 60s TV show Mission Impossible. And I was so thrilled to see her there, and I thought I had the perfect script for her. It's a Fiji Island drama called Strangled Nocturne. So during intermission, I introduced myself, told her I thought I had a wonderful role for her, and she agreed to read it. Well, a while later, she called me back and said, I find this a wonderful script. I'd like you to submit it to the Actors Studio Playwright-Director Unit. I said, in New York? And she said, no, we have a branch here in Los Angeles. So, great, I did, and they invited me to join. So far, and wonderful people there, and so far I've had readings from 3 of my plays.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's certainly delicious. And now, have you done any directing there, or has it mostly been...
I've directed 2 of my presentations there. I like to direct my own work. I have yet to find a director out there who...
Really gets it?
Really gets it, knows where I'm coming from, because I have a combination of, I'm inspired by classical theater, classical comedy. I studied and performed in many Shakespearean productions, and as well as kind of the zany comedy of the 20s and 30s Hollywood movies.
Yes,
so it's a strange blend, an interesting blend of those elements.
Well, I know, one thing, since we called the show The Turn of the Century, I should mention that is the name of one of your plays, which is kind of delicious. And what I love about it is that you write roles for older women.
Yes, I'm very inspired by them.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And
The Turn of the Century is a story that takes place in California at the end of 1899, which very few people realize there was an earthquake on Christmas morning of 1899.
Well, I had no, before I saw that or whatever, I had no idea of that.
That San Francisco shake-up in 1906 kind of took the steam out of that event. And in L.A., back in 1899, there were very few tall buildings. In fact, probably none. Farmhouses and little stucco buildings spread around. But it was a very strong earthquake. People were shaken, literally, out of their beds. And to them, to many, they considered it a warning about the coming century.
Uh-huh.
Of course, when did the century occur? In 1900 or 1901? Did it happen in 2000 or this year, 2001, which I tend to go along with? I think
It may or may not still be 2001 when you see this, but...
hopefully my plays are timeless, so whenever this is going to be
Right.
shown, you know, into the future generations, if there are any.
Depending on some of the things that seem to be going on in the world today.
You never know, do you? But
That's one of the reasons I really love your sense of humor, too, because whatever you're right, I mean, there's always this way of looking at things that is so delightful, no matter what's going, you know, what drama may be going on around or whatever. It's filled with heart, I find.
thank you, Art. I consider myself an artist. And no matter, well, my comedies have very serious themes underneath them, you know. I'm not just writing for frivolous entertainment.
Right.
And
Well, tell me a little bit about, like, some, and I know, well, you even have some pictures here, I know, of some of the older people that you have admired, Estelle Winwood and...
oh, yes. When I wrote this play, The Turn of the Century, which the main character is a soon-to-be 100-year-old Shakespearean star, an English actress living in California. After I wrote the play, I opened up the newspaper and saw a headline that said, 100-year-old star still ready for the right role. It turned out to be Estelle Winwood, a great Shakespearean actress, best friend of Tallulah Bankhead, and I met her, and fortunately, 2 of her fans came to her door and had a camera, so I was able to get this wonderful photo.
Uh-huh. And they show that perhaps on, oh, great.
This is taken in 1983. She was 100 years old, and there I am showing her the script.
Oh, that's fabulous. So,
behind her was a beautiful portrait of Estelle Winwood when she was a young star. And she was so wonderful and so fun to be with.
yeah.
Oh, there you go. And she was 100 years old. Oh, gosh.
So you know, how old did she live to be?
101. Well, she looked at the script and she saw the huge role and said, couldn't I play the nurse?
Well, it's true. It does depend. I mean, it depends. There are times when certain things become very demanding after a while. Things that one used to do with ease take a little longer, a little more.
Understandably. So then I went to a much younger actress by the name of Betty Davis. I had met Betty Davis when I was in my early 20s, and she kindly read one of my early scripts. And she wrote me a beautiful letter and encouraged me as a writer and said, I don't think you realize I am 70 years old. I'm too old to play this part. So when I saw Betty Davis's picture in Estelle Winwood's home, I thought I've got to contact her again. And this time, and I wrote her a letter, I said, Miss Davis, this time you can't tell me you're too old to play this part. And she loved that play very much too, The Turn of the Century. Very much. And unfortunately, she passed away at the age of 81, just as I had finished the screenplay version. Because she said, I'm through with the theater. You know, she was a bit debilitated by then. She had had a stroke, but had made a strong, valiant effort to regain her speech. And she was so much better than the first time I had met her, which was shortly.
Real hopes.
There were hopes, yeah. And she went off to Spain to get an award, and I was very excited that the possibility existed to give Betty Davis another great role. This is a great villainous role, you know.